Hey guys, welcome to this week's Survivor Chat.
This is the Survivor finale.
Grab your tiaras.
Also known as episode 14 of Kaoh Rong, of Brains versus Beauty versus Brawn.
Something
season
like that.
32. Can be known by a lot of names.
Got many names.
But not boring.
No.
This was an amazing season, people.
It was really good. We had some real characters on this season.
A lot of action, a lot of extremes.
Well, let's talk about who's left. We gotta wrap this puppy up. So we've got a final four right now of Ty, Sydney, Aubrey, and Michelle.
All right, and Mark the Chicken. You can't forget about him.
Mark the Chicken.
He was the star of this season.
He was a real scene stealer.
He
I'll
really
tell you.
was. When they came back and he was in the hammock.
Oh my god, that was so cute!
I loved it.
Yeah.
All right, so Ty and Aubrey, they've kind of had an off and on relationship, mostly on, during this season. Aubrey says she wants to keep Sydney.
Yeah, because they're saying, like, yeah, we want to stick together. They're speculating it's going to be a final three, and they would rather be there with Sydney than Michelle, because they feel like Michelle has a lot of friends on the jury.
She has played a kick-ass social game. And
she hasn't pissed anybody off, really.
Yeah. They both want to take her to the end.
All right, well, it's time for a reward challenge,
And
which I was
like,
not expecting.
What? A reward challenge this late in the game?
It was a doozy, too.
It was an obstacle course with tiles and machetes, and then there was a matchy puzzle at the end, and whatever
get the
was
combination.
left over. Yeah.
I was really,
crazy.
really worried about them running back and forth with the machetes. Like, what if you lose your balance and you, like, stab yourself?
That's a problem.
Like, I'm sure they were dulled down, but still. Holy crap.
Still a piece of metal.
Yeah.
All right, so the reward was a feast. I believe it was steak and cake.
It was supposed to be, like,
cake by the ocean?
heavy. It might have been. I mean, they were, they're by the ocean, so it makes sense.
All right, so there were various leaders during the challenge, but it seemed like Aubrey really was the best with the balance beam.
Oh, yeah, she was running away with it at that point. She was just like, oh, I'm walking on this balance beam. Whoa.
If she hadn't effed up the matches, it would have been a blowout for her.
But she almost blew it because she had one set that was not correct.
And she didn't realize it until nothing was opening up the combo lock. So that gave, like, Sydney a chance to catch up.
Ty had a chance to try it.
Even Michelle. And wasn't Michelle, like, dead? No, wait, that was the other one.
There was so much going on in this finale, it's hard to keep track.
Crazy. So Aubrey won that, and Jeff's like, now, guess what? You can
go it alone.
Or you could pick somebody.
Right. So, I mean, obviously sharing is caring, but at the same time, with so few people left,
you don't want to give anybody else an advantage.
It could be dangerous to leave the other two people at camp by themselves.
So she decided to take Sydney.
Yeah, because she's already good with Ty. Even Ty was telling her, like, you need to get closer to Sydney. We need to solidify this. Let's get it done.
We don't want Michelle having an advantage for the for the next immunity.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big deal to get protein this late in the game.
Yeah. So, amazing food. I'm not a steak eater, but the steaks were like, the cake looked pretty good with the flour on it. That looked really amazing. Probably a no-no as well.
Yeah. Well, anyway, they were all at camp. They had their meal at camp, but back in the camp area, Michelle was trying to work some magic on Ty. This is the second time they've been left alone.
Right.
So she's like, we've talked about working together. Maybe we could make that happen.
Ty's afraid. He's got no idol that week, so
yeah, he's like, she's thinking
exposed.
Maybe they could take out Aubrey. And Ty's like, oh, maybe.
Yeah, he seemed really non-committal about it, but then afterwards he was like, I'll do whatever it takes. Even if it means voting out Aubrey.
Ooh, all right, it's time for the immunity challenge. This is so important.
This was a huge-ass 3-story challenge with the water tower in there.
You had to go back and forth.
And ladders. Chutes and ladders.
It was, yeah.
Yeah. You had to get keys, you had to get puzzle pieces.
Mm-hmm.
Then the final coup de grace there was this 3-level puzzle tower.
Right.
That was ridiculous.
You had to make sure all of your pillars were the same height.
That is so freaking hard. Just try and wrap your brain around that for a minute. There's like, what was there, like 8 different pillars?
It was like 6 or 8.
6 or 8.
6, I want to say.
Some of them were multiple pieces. This was crazy. And
Maybe
then
it was 8.
times 3.
And they're so exhausted, not only just from this challenge, running, but this is like the
entire
end of the show.
Yeah.
So they are just depleted.
Aubrey was leading, and then Michelle was dead last.
Mm-hmm.
But she had a huge ass comeback.
Yeah, Aubrey had a huge lead, and then Michelle comes out of nowhere.
She put that puzzle together like she had it memorized.
Yeah, and then she got it right, and she freaking kicked it down after Jeff was like, "You the winner."
She's like, "Yeah."
Mm-hmm.
All right, so now
that was the one person that they were hoping would not win immunity this week.
Aubrey wants to vote out Sydney now. She wants to keep Ty because I'm thinking she's thinking
she's got a better chance against Ty. Yeah.
Yeah. But Michelle, on the other hand, wants Aubrey out, which was
like, oh crap! People respect her game. She could potentially have a lot of votes in that jury.
Very smart move. I would, if I was Michelle, I would have gotten or tried to get Aubrey out as well.
Well, there was this whole plan going into it that they were going to make it a tie.
Right.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then it would come down to fire. But then Ty was talking to Michelle, and he was like, "No, I'll vote out Aubrey." So now it's time for tribal. It's time to put your money where your mouth is.
All right, so Michelle says, "You know what, Jeff? I'm a Jersey girl, and that puzzle just clicked for me. I don't know. It just kind of all came together."
It did.
All right, so then Ty says, "Hey, all bets are off. The alliance is out the door now."
And Aubrey's just like, you could tell the whole day she was like, something's weird here. Ty's being a weirdo, bringing us these beautiful flowers.
Yeah.
Like, what's going on here? It seemed like, thought that she was going home.
Yeah. And her final closing remark was kind of like, you better think long and hard about who you send into the jury because they probably know a lot of secrets.
No. Tell everyone. Yeah, it was basically like, "Don't vote me out, mother effers."
Exactly.
I'm gonna mess you up in that jury.
That's right. So the vote came down to Aubrey versus Sydney. It was a tie.
Oh my god! So Ty was like, "No, I'm gonna stick with Aubrey. That's my girl."
And Michelle's like, "Nope, I'm gonna stick with what I'm doing here." So then it was the fire making challenge.
Oh my god.
And I was so upset because Michelle was so confident that Sydney was going to stay that she told her, "You don't have to
even
practice.
bother practicing.
You don't have to. You're not going home. Because I'm not writing your name down, girl. I'm from Jersey."
Well, I gotta say, one of my favorite parts of this whole thing was watching the jury watch the fire making challenge. They were so into it.
Neil was like, "No, no, no."
It was like in Harry Potter in the Quidditch match when they're all casting spells from the crowd. And they're like,
"Leviosa!"
And then Cape catches on fire, and then it was crazy.
It was crazy because Sydney had like the most amount of trouble. She could not even barely get a flame going.
Yeah. So then Aubrey gets it going. She's building up her little fire pile.
Yeah.
And it looks like she's gonna get it, but then the wind starts taking it.
But it was too freaking windy.
Yeah. Her freaking structure collapses.
I thought she was gonna burn through the stick on the side before she
That must have been metal or something.
Maybe.
Yeah. But eventually, Aubrey did manage to get that fire back.
She scooped up those embers and then she got some more kindling on there and then she finally got it. But
it was dramatic, though.
It was very dramatic.
And then Sydney was like, "I was doing this for my mother," and it's like really upsetting to have this dream end this way. It was.
Everybody freaking hated Aubrey at that moment.
But I mean, what do you want her to do?
Roll over and die?
Oh,
all right.
It was tough. But then it was nice when they checked in with Sydney's mom during the live part of the show.
"It's all good. I love my baby. I'm proud of my baby."
Damn, her parents are buff too.
I know. Wow.
Oh my god. The family that lives together stays together.
That's right. So it's anybody's game now. It's time for the final challenge.
Mm-hmm.
Or so they think.
Well, they're like, I don't don't know. Is it like a final 2? Is it a final 3? What's the deal? So
Jeff never said this is the final 3.
they think they're going into an immunity challenge, and Jeff is just like, this is not a challenge for immunity.
This is not immunity challenge. You guys are the final 3. I know. But the winner, they're still going to do the challenge. But the winner of the challenge, there's a new twist. You get to vote off whoever you want on the jury.
What? This is so
huge.
Big Brother Canada 3, except only one person gets to pick, and it's not a group decision.
Right.
So that's like a huge advantage to be able to get rid of one jury vote.
Yeah. All right, so the challenge was you're like on this wobbly beam, trying to stack balls and cups. I think it was like 8.
I think it was
8 balls and 8 cups or something like that.
Again, is it 6 or 8? We'll never know.
Ty was pretty much out of it.
Yeah, it really came down to Aubrey and Michelle.
Yeah, and I mean, it really came down like the last ball.
They both had the last ball on there. They're trying to pull away the little fork thing.
Aubrey,
the Nathan's French fry fork,
got a little wobbly, and her tower fell over. But then Michelle pulled it out, and it cleared.
I was waiting for her to kick that too. Karate chop or something. I don't know.
So we think we're going to the final. Well,
Michelle, she's a comp beast now. She's winning all these competitions.
We think we're going to the final tribal, but the jury don't know that.
So they're sitting there. They're like, "There's no necklace. This could be interesting." There's no necklace.
Michelle gets to read the little note because Jeff was tired.
I love that they made Michelle read it.
And she gets to vote off one person of the jury.
And you could see immediately Neil is like, "Oh shit, it's gonna be me."
Yeah. But before that, she kept asking, like, Aubrey and Ty, who do you think I should vote off?
Yeah, well, obviously, Ty was trying to get her to vote off someone who would vote for Aubrey. So he was saying Neil or Joe.
Right.
And then Aubrey was trying to get rid of someone who might potentially vote for Ty.
So she was saying Jason. Mm-hmm. So, freaking Neil is the one that Michelle picks. And he is so pissed.
This was crazy.
As he's walking out, he's like, "You came in here like a badass bitch, but you're just a little puppy suckling at the teat."
What? And then he was like, "You don't have a chance to win."
Yeah, you're underestimating the jury or whatever.
What? I did not expect that coming from Neil.
I know, right?
It was crazy. I don't know if he was just trying to get his like last minute hurrah in or what. It was crazy.
I don't know. But that was a real Sue Hawk moment right
It was. He totally Sue Hawked.
Yeah, and I was expecting Jeff to mention it at the reunion.
There was no time for that. We'll get there.
All right, so...
It's time to reflect back on your journey.
They don't do the torches anymore.
No.
There's no time.
It's overplayed now.
It is. They have scale and mirror, though. This is not the first time they had scale and mirror.
I enjoy that, because it's like the Swan when they're like, "Oh... Look at my new face."
Yeah. Wow.
Do you guys remember that show? The show was awful.
Can I keep this weight off when I get back to the States?
All right. So they did that. They had their whole big brunch feast. Mm-hmm. Lovely.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
With Mark.
Yes.
With Mark the chicken.
You know where else Mark the chicken went?
The final tribal.
That was everything.
It was.
Freaking Ty sitting there like a king with his pet chicken. Oh, it was amazing.
Yep. And then it's the time for the jury to question the last reprobates.
You never know what you're going to get here. What kind of jury are we looking at? Will there be blood?
This, in general, was a very, very eclectic jury. Aubrey had some fans on the jury, obviously. Mm-hmm. You know, Joe and Joe.
I love how Nick, the life coach, like gave them advice.
Little pep talk.
Yeah, no questions, just advice about what they needed to do that night to convince people to vote for them.
Right. Michelle seemed like she really had the respect of the jury, judging by the questions and statements.
I mean, they were asking her a lot of like, what did you do? You know, were you even strategizing? Were you just floating? And she really made it a point to talk about her social game and how that was really her strongest asset.
Right.
And there's something to be said for that.
So we have the vote, the final vote. and Mark the chicken is released.
Oh my god.
What the hell? Did anybody bring Mark the chicken back with them?
I really hope like someone from the crew adopted him or something.
I really hope so too.
He's used to being around people now.
Yeah.
So
I hope that they adopted him.
I hope so.
Or at least like set him up in some sort of a sanctuary or something where, you know,
yeah,
he was okay.
Well, I mean, they did visit that sanctuary, so maybe
they
could bring him there or something.
That was more of like a wild animal sanctuary though.
I mean, there's always room for a little Mark the chicken.
All right. Well, you know, the days of Jeff jumping on the helicopter are gone too.
I missed that. That was so much fun.
But now he just walks over a little bridge and is like, all right, I got the
They don't
bus."
have time for the whole helicopter thing anymore.
I love the helicopter sequence, though. I wish they would bring... Jeff, bring back the helicopter!
Maybe next season, just for old times'
The
sake.
helicopter! All right, so the vote goes to Michelle. Michelle wins.
I don't think we heard the total... We know that Aubrey got at least 2.
At least 2.
And obviously Michelle got at least 4. I mean, congratulations to her. She was not my pick to win, but... Gotta give her props.
She took, you know what?
She pulled it off.
She wasn't my pick until I saw what a beast she became in the end.
Yeah,
and, like,
it wasn't the thing
dominated
where
those
like
challenges.
I don't have anything against her.
No,
but she just wasn't my pick to win.
no. All right, and you know I think Ty was at a real disadvantage too because English is a second language. He's not as good as expressing himself.
I also think there was some bitterness in that jury.
Absolutely. All right, so Michelle explains, you know,
We didn't really get to hear much from her during the reunion.
It was my social game.
Yeah.
I played I played a good social game.
You know, I'm a Jersey girl.
I was
Jersey strong.
I was on the beauty tribe, but you know what? I'm so much more.
Good for you, girl. Good for you.
All right, so then Aubrey, she was really transformed from a nerd.
To a warrior.
Oh, my nerd.
But seriously, remember how in the first episode, how she was crying and like...
I'm dehydrated. I don't know what to eat for lunch.
It's amazing, the transformation throughout the season.
She thinks she's a Cochrane. I could see that.
Yeah.
And Ty. Ty was the most unique, beautiful individual to ever play the game of Survivor in 32 seasons.
Got really, really crazy. This is a live show, guys.
Yeah. So, Jeff's talking about how amazing Ty is.
And then all of a sudden there's this voice.
He's like, oh, it's
Jeff! Jeff!
So then Hat shows up with the hair. And I'm like, wow, why is that girl dressed up like Sia?
It is Sia. It's not just Amy Sedaris with a mop over her head.
And then she's like, I'm Sia. Jeff's like, I know.
Well, you know, she was there. It's not like she just randomly showed up in the audience. She was there before the show hanging out with all them. She's a big Survivor fan, apparently. Right. So, like, Jeff knew that she was in the building. But I don't know that he knew that she was going to run up like that.
I don't think she knew she was going to run up like that. She's like, Jeff, I am so moved by Ty and his love of animals. And Sprint does not do their fan favorites anymore. So I want to give Ty 50,000 doll hairs.
Wow. And she wants to donate 50,000 to any animal charity of his choice.
That is amazing.
That was crazy.
I would have to say that is the best moment of Survivor in Survivor history.
What? I don't know about that. It's definitely a memorable moment. It's up there.
The most unexpected.
It was pretty unexpected. I'll give you that.
That was crazy. All right.
It was insane. Like, I was just like, what is happening right now?
Twitter.
What?
I'm sure that was trending within like 2 seconds.
Yeah. And then Jeff Probst is like, what do I do? I'm going to go to Drew Carey. They're going to have those Price is Right specials
TV.
Next week.
Yeah, I'm
excited for those.
I'm excited for that too.
Survivor, Big Brother, and Amazing Race.
Yeah. This was the craziest Survivor ever in terms of like evacuations and like medical problems and everything.
It was brutal.
Freaking Caleb was almost dead.
Yeah.
That was crazy. He's okay now. He just got married.
Yeah.
Don't take his gerb. Mm-hmm. All right, so Caleb was the sickest one ever, though.
That's what Dr. Joe said.
What was that other one who was like Jeff was like, oh man, I was afraid you were going to die. I can't remember. It was like a few seasons ago. If you guys know, leave it in the comments.
I don't know. Doesn't sound good.
No.
But yeah.
So then they interviewed
shout out to Dr. Joe.
Dr. Joe. Dr. Joe, you can take care of me. Don't pull me from the game,
Don't
though.
tase me, bro. It's tough. He's got to make tough decisions and, you know, decide if people are going to be able to stay in the game or not. That must be, like, soul-crushing.
Yeah. One of the best moments of the season, though, was Ty refusing to use that super idol on Scott.
Yeah.
That was so satisfying.
So we revisited that. I feel like Scott's still bitter about it.
Hugely. Yeah, Debbie's a firecracker. She's done it all, literally. She's had, like, every job in the world.
And she rides a motorcycle, okay?
Yeah.
She doesn't get paid for that yet.
No.
Yet. So maybe she'll get a deal from this.
Could be. Harley. I hear Harley calling. All right, Joe, 71 and still getting it done.
Good for you, Joe.
I got a lot of respect for Joe.
Absolutely.
He went out in a horrible way. If he hadn't eaten all that meat, I kind of wonder how this all would have turned out.
Yeah, you never know. Things could have been different, but...
It could have been Aubrey sitting up there.
Could have been, but Joe was the oldest, and then on the other end of the spectrum, we've got Julia, the youngest of the season. She's still a teenager.
She even lied about her age. That's pretty cool. I would too.
She said she was in her 20s.
All right. Yeah, and she had that moment when she was alone in between
She was
tribes.
tribeless.
Yeah, that was crazy, and she really used that to empower herself. That was kind of her turning point in the game because she really hadn't seen so much action.
Yeah, she really stepped it up. Oh my god, she was like a major strategist.
Yeah.
After the merge.
Yeah, when she hooked up with the bad guys.
Ah!
That was probably her undoing, though, but whatever.
So then we get a little bit more info on Mark the Chicken, wherever he is. Hopefully he's still alive.
The whole time I was thinking that
they were
Mark
gonna bring
the
him
Chicken
out.
was up in the booth.
I know.
But he wasn't.
But Mark Burnett was.
But was Mark the Chicken a boy?
Yeah, he was like...
But what about Jeff the Chicken? Was he a girl?
I don't know.
Because weren't these egg-laying chickens, or were they just, like, roosters?
I don't know.
I don't know either. But anyway.
They must have all been roosters, because why wouldn't they keep them for the eggs? You know?
Unless they weren't good at laying eggs. I don't know. Because, you know, like, chickens
they
don't
can't
just
be, like,
freaking lay.
out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I don't know. But I was really hoping they were going to bring Mark the Chicken out, have, like, a talk show moment when they're like, well, he's here right now. Come on out, Mark the Chicken.
Every Mark the Chicken is in the audience is getting something tonight.
Check under your seats.
Yeah.
Oh, it's Mark the Chicken. No, he wasn't there.
Oh, God. If you guys know what happened to Mark the Chicken, let us know.
All right.
I'm really worried.
Next season looks amazing.
It's in Fiji. It's season 33.
It's a new theme.
It's 20 brand new castaways. No oldies returning. But there will be oldies.
Because it's freaking millennials versus Gen X.
What?
Oh my god.
I'm so excited for this.
But like, the stereotypes. I hope we're gonna like be breaking down walls here.
I think we will.
I hope so.
She's a millennial. I'm not quite a Gen X. I'm in between generations. I'm the last of the baby boomers and like the beginning of the Gen X's. So it's gonna be personal for us a little bit.
I could see things getting a little tense, but
I want to see. I'm interested to see. Will you be rooting for the millennials, and I'll be rooting for the Gen X's, or will it be vice versa, or whatnot?
We'll find out.
Let us know what you guys think in the comments. Thanks so much for watching. We had a great season.
Fun.
And until next time,
Much love.
Edit.